Professor of BSMED, Dr. Rupa Gunasilan ma'am, the lioness in action, to kindly deliver the welcome address. Now we would like to call upon Mr. J. Jayaprashanth sir to the stage. Now I would like to call upon Dr. Ramanujam sir to the stage. And also I would like to call upon S.M. Sankar sir to the stage.
Mr. J. Jayaprashanth, COO and co-founder of Trinetra Wireless and Angular Technologies, Coimbatore. Dr. V. Ramanujam, Associate Professor, BSMED. And the guest faculties, young and energetic guest faculties, Dr. Shubhashini Durai and Dr. S. Pavitra, alumni of BSMED, esteemed faculty members from BSMED and scholars, my dear students. Good evening to all of you. My dear friends, at the outset, I'm extremely happy to be part of valedictory session and give away my welcome address. Friends, all good things have to come to an end. So this is fair evening time, and I know you are waiting for a closing remark. We started at 10:15 sharply and moved it all along. So many deliberations and such a beautiful points poured like mammoth from every eminent speakers. We are having interesting, elaborate, in-depth, essential discussions all together. Friends, I can endorse the success of all the technical sessions to our esteemed alumni team who were handpicking the speakers in a wise way under the stewardship, presidentship of Shankar sir, who is on the dais, spearheading the technical sessions and framing it out in such a fine manner. That has happened in a very, very wonderful way. Friends, this particular day is going to be marked in the history of our region. Many are talking about disruptive innovations, but we talked disruptive innovations from industry perspectives, various industries and the inventions and innovations happened in the industry and how the breakthrough happened and what next are the aspects which we were talking about. So in that way, it is certainly different from any other deliberations. Today, we are having Mr. J. Jayaprashanth, who is an young brain, a startup prime and a pride owner of a startup company. Am I right, sir? And it is doing a lot of contributions in wireless technologies. We never thought that technologies like these, particularly wireless technologies and the components, soft and hard, are all become part of industrial activities of Coimbatore. Coimbatore has got an entrepreneurial DNA, as all of them endorsed it in beautiful way. It has got very, very essential track line of industrial developments and contributions for nearly 3 decades altogether. And there is no wonder. See, whenever there is some kind of enormous developments in various sectors in any part of the world, such aspects immediately you can see is taking up its form and shape in Coimbatore soil, and new entrepreneurs emerge and they really make some essential contributions to the society. So in that line, we got today Mr. Jayaprashanth. He also touched upon the changes that are happening through his organization's innovations, and that's why we are having a young and energetic, original startup entrepreneur here. Welcome you, sir. I spare my welcome to Shankar sir once again for all the support and help he is doing all the time, not only today, throughout, consistently. Thank you very much, sir. And I thank my beloved faculty, Dr. V. Ramanujam, Associate Professor of this department, who is young blood, driving the dynamic force of students. And the special thanks is for mentioning him as young blood. I mean it. I mean it. I endorse it. I appreciate him. Wishes. So I also. The other two is really grinning at me. Huh? If he is young, what are we? You are also young and energetic. Battalion of good people, and the dynamism and energy is always overflowing. I welcome each one of you on the dais, and faculties, students, members from various organizations, members from Tamil Nadu Agricultural University, one special member is available here with us. Mentor faculties, alumni friends, students, all of you are most welcome to this particular valedictory session. Thank you very much for the opportunity provided to me.
Thank you, ma'am. Teaching with a kind heart is the key to unlock the potential within every student. Next, I would like to call upon that kind teacher, Dr. Subhashini Durai ma'am, guest faculty of BSMED, to introduce our chief guest, Mr. J. Jayaprashanth sir.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our iconic event, Access 24. It is my pleasure to introduce our chief guest, Mr. J. Jayaprashanth Jayachandran, who has graciously accepted our invitation to join us today. Mr. Jayaprashanth is a highly accomplished individual in the field of fleet management, mobility, and IoT solutions. He is the COO and co-founder of Trinetra Wireless. He is also COO and Director of Anglers Technology India Private Limited. He is Chairman of CII Young Indians Coimbatore chapter for the year 2021. He has 20 years of international experience in embedded system, wireless network, agile approach, and software development. He primarily focused on product development and R&D, and he is interested in creativity, problem solving, scaling up, and mentoring. We are honored to have Mr. Jayaprashanth sir with us today to share his insights and experiences with our students and faculty members. Today we will be discussing on the topic of the event, disruptive innovations, strategies to transform the business. And I am confident that Mr. J. Jayaprashanth will provide valuable insights and perspectives on this important topic. On behalf of BSMED, I would like to extend a warm welcome to Mr. J. Jayaprashanth and thank him for taking the time to be with us today. I am sure that this interaction with our chief guest will be valuable learning experience for all of us. With that, I invite Mr. J. Jayaprashanth Jayachandran to come forward and address our esteemed gathering. Let us give a huge round of applause to welcome our chief guest. Thank you again for being here with us today. We are honored to have you with us, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I know it's the last session, and can we first make some noise just to ensure that everyone is aware and active? Good evening. Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for the invite. And when I got the call from Kanakraj, Kritika, and other alumni members, I immediately accepted. Thank you for the invite. And it's my pleasure also to be part of this very engaging, eventful, technology focused, but yet business transformation related focus session. I think first when I think I passed out 20 years ago from my undergrad. So when Rupa ma'am was saying young, it was like nice to hear that. Thank you for that, and distinguished guests on the dais. First was a lot of nostalgia when I was driving into the campus. I went back to my college days. I went back to when I was conducting events, when I was part of the organizing committee. I think that was the first thing that came to my mind. Second was, I think Dr. Rupa also mentioned that I think Coimbatore is a good place to be in terms of entrepreneurship. And I would like to maybe extend it even more, saying India, recently we just finished 75 years of independence, and I think definitely India is the place to be in terms of entrepreneurship. The next 10, 15 years, I think the time is ideal for India and Indians in general to look at taking up something new, look at taking up something different, challenging yourself, and entering into the entrepreneurship journey. I don't think we'll have a golden opportunity as we are currently having at the moment, and I think it's well documented across all over the world as well. In terms of GDP as well, we are really engaging and going fast ahead as well. So with that, I think I'll quickly go on to my presentation. So when the topic was also given, I think it was very interesting. I took 2-3 minutes to first understand what the topic was, because the topic was having a good mix of both technology and the business aspect of it. The previous session was a lot more in-depth in terms of technology. I'll maybe not go too much on technology, but maybe focus more on the business aspect of things, and a little bit more using case studies, using use cases, just a couple of examples. I know we are slightly behind schedule, so I'll keep it neat, crisp, and maybe we can have interactions. Maybe that'll be nicer to go. Yeah. I think quickly, I'm going to skip slides, but basically I represent 2 companies. One is Angular. Angular is 23, 24 years old now, largely into digital transformation. We are around 200 people. We are very process-centric. We have both products, and we also have a bit of services as well. But the interesting part is we work with mostly manufacturing segments, mostly non-tech companies, right? Companies that are into manufacturing, companies that are into conglomerates and things like that. So that's Angular for you. Trinetra is a very different company to Angular. Trinetra is completely product-centric. Not services. So out and out hardware, software combination, SaaS product, mobile app, and things like that. So that's the difference between the 2 companies. So each time there is 2 different caps I have to wear in terms of what both the companies offer and what both the team members also are. So that's it. Okay. So since the topic was about innovation, so I thought I'll put some slides on innovation, but I think the previous session, Dr. Nitya is here, and I think he actually very beautifully capped what is innovation is. I think he said 2 things, right? Remove limitation, and then value creation. I think that was the constant thing I could take from his thing, and he actually beautifully put it in multiple use cases as well, and the other panel members also said that. So I think first thing is to keep innovation simple. It is not very complex. What is the constraint you're removing? Have you identified the problem area? Can we do something about the constraint? And then, are you creating some value? I think this is the fundamental crux that I would like to first make it very easy, very simple in terms of what innovation really means. Especially since most of the, all the students here are MBA grads. So I think making it more simple is, I think, fundamentally important. So you don't need to have the mindset of, oh, I have to be a technology person to create innovation. There are other ways and means to do this as well. So what is innovation also? I'll just go through fast because I think this is all well covered. So if you think of the best examples of disruptive innovation is, I think a smartphone is one thing. Earlier days, when the Nokia days were there, when I was studying, there was no WhatsApp, there was nothing, right? Even a text message was so different. We didn't even know if the messages reached and things like that. So how do you create this additional capability that your stakeholders, your customers are not having at the moment? Other great examples are the Olas, the Ubers, the Swiggis, and things like that, right? Maybe this generation are maybe possibly born with that, so you don't know the pains that the previous generation had in terms of getting a taxi or things like that. So that is basically what disruptive innovation is, and with that as the backdrop, we can go further. So the topic that I'll possibly dwell a little bit more, and a topic that I can talk a lot in terms of disruptive innovation. There's a lot of topics available, but IoT is a space where there's a lot of disruptive innovation that's happening. The previous panel, there was also talk about medical health as well. I think that's an area where the next few years, excellent amount of innovation is going to happen. But if you look at connected devices, connectivity, Internet of Things, industrial IoT, Industry 4.0, even agriculture 4.0 for that matter as well, I think the trend is phenomenal in terms of how the growth structure is. These are all from the internet, these are all research papers that is there. So it's all going in terms of billions of $100 and things like that. So that's in terms of the market trend and the scale of opportunity that is available. And if you break this down into further, in different segments, right, there's a lot of different I think this screen is not changing. Yeah, there's a lot of different use cases. The reason I'm showing this is, look at the most simplest of use cases there. Track and trace, right? To know where things are and to understand what that particular aspect means. So even the most simplest of things has a huge market share. So one of the key things as, aspiring entrepreneurs, MBA grads and things like that is to also look at what is your market share, what is your target audience and things like that. Sometimes this is not given too much of importance. People want to do product development, people want to create something, but they don't really understand what is the market potential available, and in that market potential, how much is the addressable market share that one can take up. And as MBA students, I think this is something you will do a lot of market research, analysis, web research and things like that. So I think this is also very important in terms of deciding what segment to jump in, and is there a clear market share, what is the competition and things like that. So I think fundamentally innovation is good, innovation is great, but also what is the playground you have, what is the level of analysis or data that you have if you want to enter a particular segment, especially if you're not the first mover, if you don't have the first mover advantage. So these are all some actual data and research that comes out of it. So I'm going to talk about how do you embrace all this huge amount of technology that's going on, causing disruption and things like that, and what should be our mindset in terms of adapting to this, right? So I think the buzzword is irrespective of which industry we are in is digital transformation. Are you with me? Digital transformation, yes, no? Yes? Yes, okay. So quite often than not, I get asked this question, how do I start digital transformation? Last week I was in a CAI conference on digital transformation for MSMEs. Fundamentally, most of the questions that were asked was, where do I start, how do I start, and how do I end, right? So I think digital transformation is not about start or stop. It's about the mindset first, and it's the journey that will take you to the destination, right? but the destination is very, very misleading, right? Because there is no end goal as far as digital transformation is concerned. There's so much of opportunities, there's so much of data analysis that you can do, that you can actually create a lot of value for various different stakeholders within your organization and outside your organization as well. But the key is to identify some pain points, like I said. Where is the constraint within the organization or external, and then get started on that. So I would like to just emphasize on the mindset required for digital transformation. That's the first thing in terms of embracing change constantly to create value to your customers, to your stakeholders, and things like that, right? I'll repeat again, embracing change constantly. It's not a one-time activity. It's about constant emphasis. Hence the thought of it's more of a journey and less of an endpoint. One very simple example, this is actually with the case study of one of our actual customers as well. This is a very large company, maybe 6 years ago. They were not able to articulate what the challenge was. They knew they wanted to get into the digital transformation space. They knew they wanted to, do something different, have clear data, truthful data, not data from hearing from person A or person B. It has to be non-ambiguous, clear data where I can use the data and take decisions. I think sometimes that's usually the starting point. So the first step is always look at things that you can digitize, right? So there's a lot of paperwork that will be happening and things like that. So we actually converted that particular document into a tool in which they can actually do analysis, they can do a lot of summary, they can do a lot of drill down of what's happening and things like that. So that particular document eventually got transformed into an application like how you are seeing at the bottom of the screen. So that usually is the start for most of the things. So again, this also leads to a lot of sustainability. You go paperless after that. Your data is available all the time. There are so many activities in terms of cloud availability or your in-house premises and things like that. So every change has a major impact beyond that small decisions, right? Eventually, your organization can go paperless also. So I think fundamentally, sometimes when you start the journey, you don't question what is the outcome or ROI you'll get immediately at that point, but give it more time, give it more space, and then I think you'll get a lot more benefit out of it. So this is a very simple example of how change can happen by just digitizing or digitalizing things. Then you can go into digital transformation and other things. So I think quite often also this, change is fine. I know that I'll be very open to feedback. I'll take a fresh start. It's new year, I'll take a resolution. It's financial year end and year beginning, I'll start something new. That's always there in all the organizations. But how do you sustain it? How do you embrace that change for sustainable growth is where mostly the challenges come in. So I've broadly classified based on our experience working with internally and also to other customers into these 4 buckets, right? Culture, strategy, capabilities, and the last one is organization and talent. I'll just list the other points. Maybe I'll not go in too much of depth due to time, but most of the things are self-explanatory, but I think you should, So I think under each of these things, if you can pick up one thing at a time and then look at which is priority within that subsection and get started on it. Apply these values within your organization. Apply these values within your ecosystem. I think that's a great start. So each DNA of the organization is very different. There is no one strategy that works for all, but one of the ways of embracing change is to define your strategy. Is your culture fitment in line with your strategy? And what is your organization capability and talent? So I think these 4 buckets generally I think is fundamental. If you want to have change, involve technology, but at the same time have it sustainable. Many times what we see is, I think there are spurts of brilliance. They're able to do one thing, 2 things, implement and works fine, but then you're not able to sustain it over a period of time. So if you can just look at all these 4 combinations and work towards it, that's something that will help you in embracing change in a very sustainable manner. And more, I think it's the previous panelists also said it's becoming more and more a collaborative world. Gone are the days where you want to create everything from start. I think it's very expensive, very time consuming, and by the time you complete something, something new is already there to disrupt you. So I think we should be also smart in terms of collaboration. I was just talking to some of the alumni here, and they were saying that Bharatiyar University also have a lot of collaboration with other like-minded organizations, like-minded universities as well. And I think that's the way to go. How do we collaborate with like-minded people and do things like that? So where can this technology disrupt, and where can this change actually implement? I am basically split it into 4 different journeys. So it could be the customer, it could be the team, our employees, it could be the vendor, or it could be the product itself. So there are various ways that you can actually pick, choose, combine it with the previous slide in terms of where do I want to do digital transformation, where do I want to ensure that I want to make this change, and then take forward. All this will take a lot of time, but this is just a blueprint in terms of how you can actually adapt change using technology as well. I'm sure I think some of the previous speakers in the morning or the afternoon would have spoken about this, but I think this is fundamentally a very important slide in terms of how the world is moving towards. Data is a new oil. I think all of us knew that. In fact, that's no longer new. It's becoming a old jargon. But I think many times I think people expect magic from IT, software, products. Usually it's not the case, unfortunately. Right? It's more of an enabler, and using the data we make decisions and then change happens. So the first thing here is data is an enabler. You have data, you process data, you digitize data, you understand data, and then you take decisions, right? So the first point is data is an enabler. Being in Coimbatore, there's a lot of manufacturing firms around. So most of these firms actually are now digitally equipped. That means that their shop floors are also having industrial IoT, Industry 4.0 and things like that, which also means that they have a lot of data in which they can take decisions in terms of uptime, in terms of servicing, in terms of maintenance and things like that. Product as a service, I think this is the world we live in, so I'll not go deep in that. Connected products, I think everything is connected these days. I think now they're estimating the latest McKinsey report is some billions of dollars, billions of, I think the next level of gigabytes of transactions per day is going to be the norm. And then all this should lead to some kind of sustainability. How do we leave the place to be better, greener, and much more safer? So I think this slide is about industry trends. I think you'll have to pick and choose which is your area of interest on this. I think the slides are not matching. Yeah, actually, you can leave the previous one. Yeah, this one. You can map that to here. I'm just going to take one use case and just see how it'll all transpire. How all the previous slide that I showed in terms of data as an enabler, digitally connected, product as a service, and things like that. So this is a case study in which you can see that the customer came with an example of they do this. Cleaning machinery, cleaning equipments that runs indoors. In fact, this company cleaning equipment is there in the entire Bangalore International Airport. So their pain point was, how do I monitor my assets? How do I see how much of charge, discharge? These are all electrically connected assets, electric vehicles. How do I see what is the electric capability? How do I see the discharge cycles? But I don't have access to go into the Bangalore International Airport. I have to do this all remotely. So that was the use case, even though the product is theirs. So like in the previous slide, you can actually have IoT devices that can be plugged in, get data in real time, see this in a control room, sitting anywhere in the world, and take decisions in terms of maintenance, preventive measures, and proactive maintenance. So that's a hardware, that's a SaaS application, and things like that. So this is a very simple example of how change can be done using disruptive technologies, thanks to the advent of communication technologies also becoming better in terms of cellular connectivity and things like that. A lot more data can be obtained, any kind of data can be obtained, and then you can make a lot of analysis out of it. So this is one very simple example, and like this there are multiple examples, and for the customer you can see service cost is better, maintenance is better, and things like that. So maybe 10 years before this would have been extremely difficult, or it would have been extremely expensive. Now the affordability is always there. I think this is also a slide on how innovation is actually going into hardcore manufacturing segment, where it's all machineries and things like that. The key thing to look at here is how it's also impacting on safety, cost, efficiency, performance. And the outcome is, look at the impact it can do in terms of cost, product development, operating cost, and the gross margin as well. So the numbers are mind-boggling, but it takes a lot of time, effort to marry technology with what business sense is. I think that's where the challenge is always. Technology is always there, the requirements is always there, but how do you map these two? I think that's where I think the change management, adapting to the requirements, going through the process, I think Sir mentioned very well in terms of manufacturing practices like RCAs, Kappa, Gemba, Kaizen. I think these are fundamentally very important irrespective of whether you're a technology company or a non-technology company. These are some benefits, maybe I'll not go in great depth on it, but I think the main thing with how this is really impacting is increased transparency of data, improving efficiency, and then taking decisions in real time, right? You go to many manufacturing, they have huge LED boards in terms of what's the current status, which machine is broken down, which machine is running at 90% efficiency, and things like that. All this is possible, and then finally, once the KPIs are defined, a lot of decisions can be taken. For students, I think, like I mentioned at the start, I think we are in a great era of entrepreneurship, business, GDP growth, and things like that. As students, how can you make good use of it? I think when I was studying, I didn't have so much of opportunities and avenues to do this. But now you talk about, hackathons, conferences. There are so many happening in the city, right? So, your alumni is coming and helping out in terms of organizing such conferences, and I'm sure that the students are also involved. This practical know-how is what sometimes is missing when you come to the actual business world. How do I work with a team? How do I put up a plan? How do I do timelines? Sometimes these things are missing, right? So taking part in aspects like this, like organizing conferences, hackathons, is real-world experience. Get exposed to the latest in terms of products, services, and things like that. How can you do that? You can do it by doing a lot of internships. I think companies now are embracing internships. There's no longer the challenge to come and get internships. In fact, our company has at least 20% of our workforce are on internships, and they'll be there at least for 6 months in a year. So I think the students need it, the organizations need it, and then it's a very good give and take for both sides as well. And of course, the last one is, are you equipped, or do you have the access to the latest in terms of cutting edge technologies, IoT, big data, and things like that? So I'll end with one quick short story. I think all of us are good. I'm a strong believer that we're all good humans, good capability, good talent. How do we go to the next level? How do we go to greatness, right? That's always the North Star for us. A century before, 1911, this is an actual story. There was a race to go to the South Pole. 2 teams. One team's name was Amundsen. The other team's name was Scott. These were the captains. The distance is the same. These are all highly trained, highly qualified, adventurous people. So there is no difference in talent, quality, things like that. So it began, and Amundsen team took the approach of South Pole. We are talking about Antarctica, right? 1911. So there's hardly any connectivity and things like that. You're all alone on your own. Climate change impact was also less, so it was more snowing, more hard conditions. So Amundsen's team, please listen, I'll ask questions in the end. Amundsen's team, every day, irrespective of the weather conditions, maybe it's a blizzard, it's a snowstorm, it's a nice day, did 20 miles a day. Scott's team had a different strategy. Some days they did 40 miles, some days they did 35 miles, some days they didn't do anything at all because it was very snowy and things like that. Some days they took rest also. Right? So these were the two teams. Amundsen's team was able to reach on a daily basis 20 miles. Scott's team was some days high, some days low. Some days nothing. Right? So Amundsen's team actually reached the South Pole 34 days in advance, and then were able to plant their flag very proudly and then go back. Scott's team came after 30 odd days, very disappointed to see the other team's flag being hoisted, and unfortunately they couldn't even go back. They all perished. They all lost their lives, unfortunately. What do you think is the takeaway in the story? Consistency, excellent. Anything else? Determination, thank you. Anything else? Sorry? Ambition? Resilience, great. I think that's the main message I want to leave here. Irrespective of technology, irrespective of disruption, irrespective of how you're embracing change, what is your 20-mile march? What are you going to do in terms of, on a daily basis, fanatical discipline, consistency, religious consistency? What is it that you're going to work towards? Is it going to be your higher studies? Is it going to start opening a company, or is it going to do something else? But are you committed to do this day in and day out, irrespective of good day, bad day, function, no function? Is your 20-mile march deeply written down somewhere, deeply etched in your mind? And are you going to commit yourself in terms of going towards that march with that consistency, with that discipline, and with that passion? Right? I think that's what is going to really differentiate the good students, good people to the great ones. It's a long journey, but I think if you can take this as an important takeaway and then implement in whatever you're going to do, I think that will take you leaps and bounds ahead compared to your peers, competition, and things like that. I think with that story, I'll end my talk here. And we want everyone to be great, so I thought it will be ideal to start the story. And I think technology skill can be learned. I'm a strong believer that you can learn most of the things. Embracing change, I think this discipline is required. I think with that, thank you so much once again for this opportunity, and I hope you all have a good evening.
Thank you, sir, for giving us intriguing thoughts on the topic. Now we request Dr. Rupa Gunasilin ma'am, Registrar in charge, Professor and Director of BSMED, to honor Mr. Jayaprashanth sir with the memento.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I would like to call upon our blooming rose of BSMED, Dr. S. Pavitra ma'am, guest faculty of BSMED, to take us for rapporteur session.
இந்த கேப்ஷனுக்கு நிர்வாகம் பொறுப்பேற்காது. Okay, let me start with உள்ளுவதெல்லாம் உயர்வுள்ளல். I strongly believe in that. Let me start to consolidate all the good things that happened in the wonderful day. So starting with the welcome address was given by Dr. Malamadi ma'am. She welcomed all the guests, and the presidential address was given by Mr. S.M. Shankar sir. He started with the evolution of access event, and he talked about the Manathippam. He stressed upon initiating alumni club and collaboration between SICI and BSMED, and he finished the note with school initiative to BSMED. And the inaugural address was given by Dr. Rupa ma'am, and she was talking about how to use the next day, and it belongs to us. So tomorrow belongs to us. She was keep on insisting on that, and she gave the reply for Shankar sir by making a note of giving a SICI collaboration with BSMED. And introduction theme was given by Mr. Manikandan. He elaborated what is disruption, its transition from negative connotation to positive connotation. Then Mr. Venkatapati sir, he insisted on ready to relearn, not only for placements but beyond the presence of mind and application of thoughts, and he insisted on that. Dr. R. Mahendran, he talked about various domains like health, agriculture, and politics, and he gave some examples from his own life and how he involved in these three domains. The next speaker was Mr. V.M. Muralidharan. He mentioned about Mr. Sabapati sir, where he was the founder of Wet Grinders in 1955, and he insisted on the innovation that can be understood from the Clever Crow story, and he insisted to keep us open-minded and to create new things. So the next session was carried by Mr. V. Subramaniam sir, and he insisted on the role of technology in driving disruptive innovation. The key points from his speech were about prompt engineering, edge computing, twin health, IoT, digital twin, and India's stack in Aadhaar and DigiLocker. So then Sridharan sir summed up the key takeaways from the session. The next session was taken by Yashwant Manivanan sir. He talked about disruptive innovations refining the business landscape. The key takeaways from his speech were using Mentimeter polls, disruption a constant companion, the power of disruption, disruption innovation cycle, consumer is the ultimate focus, and he shared a video of Harvard Business School and how they use the disruptive innovation, and also on agility based on customer need. The next, or the key takeaways were given by Dr. Bharani ma'am. The next session was on panel discussion. It discussed on the embracive disruptive innovation for long-term success, challenges and opportunities. The panelists were Sri Kumaravelu, moderator, Neil Kikani, Dr. Nityanandan Devraj sir, Raghav Krishna, Arun Suresh, and Dr. Uma Devi ma'am. So the key points from this panel discussion were on evolution of computers, polls on some disruptive products, QCD-LM, peripheral vision matters. However, there prevails only 10% success rate of these, and benchmarking how it is very effective and how it can be used. And he insisted on the Japanese 5S technologies, product and process innovation, difference between invention and innovation, and when to take a stop decision, which is one of the important key takeaways from the session. The last session was by Mr. Jayaprashanth sir, and he talked on how to navigate disruptive innovation. So he gave real-time cases, tools for digital transformation, industry trends, data-driven decision making, how change can be made with disruptive technology, and how can we get exposed to real world experiences. And I would like to end this summary with thanking you, sir. We had a good connect from the first speech of the morning, and now with the story that you gave us. So above all, the technology and all, and becoming great from good is a wonderful lesson that you have gave us, and it was a wonderful finish actually for us to hear from you. We feel so much privileged and thankful to you. Thank you all for coming and maintaining patience and keeping a good discipline. Thank you so much. At this time, I'd like to give an important note that good news actually. Tomorrow we are having a placement drive wherein 5 companies are turning up. Yes, 5 companies are turning up tomorrow for recruiting our second year students, and we feel so happy for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I request Mr. Shankar sir to honor our registrar in charge, Director and Professor of BSMED, Dr. Rupa Gunasilam ma'am, with a memento. Request Mr. Shankar sir to honor our Associate Professor Dr. Ramanujam sir with a memento. Thank you, sir. Now, I request Mrs. Kritika Kanagaraj ma'am, Managing Director, BioBlooms Agro India Private Limited, to honor our guest faculties, Dr. S. Pavitra ma'am and Dr. Subhashini Durai ma'am.
Abhishek, Vignesh, are you here? Please come and be seated near the MOC desk.
BioBlooms Agro India Private Limited likes to recognize two of their interns, Mr. Vignesh and Mr. Abhishek of second year MBA, as a token of appreciation and encouragement of their good work. On behalf of BioBlooms Agro India Private Limited, we call upon Mr. Kritika Kanagaraj ma'am, Managing Director, Photo Boys, to give away a gift check of rupees 10,000 each.
Every year we used to get students from almost 7 to 8, sometimes 12, 15 institutions. And this year, very surprisingly, இந்த 10 வருஷமா நிறைய ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸை பார்க்குறப்ப யார்கிட்ட இல்லாத டேலண்ட்ஸ் வந்து இந்த 2 பசங்கள்கிட்ட இருந்ததுன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். ஸோ பசங்கன்னு சொல்கிறது கோச்சிக்காதீங்க, they are really gem and they did some product relaunches. They made some strategies to make BioBlooms to reach the better heights. They really did a good job, and we can also promise employment for these 2 people at our company. Thank you. We had 3 people at the time, and we also like to recognize Anto. Anto, please. But the checks were being given to 2 people since they really deserve it, and Anto also made a lot of things to us. Anto, you please join with them. Recommendation.
So here is a wonderful example. Our alumnus Kanagaraj, I've seen him as a student and the evolution that has happened. Few years back, I invited him to come back to the school. He said, sir, நான் பிஸியாக இருக்கேன் சார், எனக்குலாம் வேலை டைம் இல்லை. என்னதான் ஆச்சுன்னு தெரியல, என்ன மந்திரம் போட்டாங்க தெரியல மேடம், எல்லாம் போட்டு அப்படியே கனெக்ட் ஆகி. Now they are all part of a big family. This is BSMD family. ஸோ இப்போ நான் கோயம்புத்தூர் வந்துட்டுனா போதும் எல்லோரும் கனெக்ட் ஆகிடுறாங்க. சம்திங் மேஜிக் இஸ் ஹேப்பனிங் ஹியர். வீட்டில் சொல்லிடுறாங்க, நீங்கள் கோயம்புத்தூர் போகிறீங்களா, அவ்வளோதான், 2 நாள் ஃபோன் எடுக்க மாட்டீங்க அப்படின்றாங்க. தட் இஸ் அ bondage these people are to me now. Okay, so I expect each and everybody to come back to the university. The lighthouse மாதிரி இது MBA முடிச்சிட்டோம் படிச்சிட்டோன்ற தலைக்கு ஏறவே வேண்டாம். எவ்ரி டே இஸ் அ லேர்னிங். இயர்லி ஒன்ஸ் ஒரு 2 days வாங்க, இங்கே வந்து நிம்மதியாக இருங்க. கம் பேக் டு த ஃபேமிலி. ஓகே, ரிவைண்ட் யுவர் செல்ஃப், டாக் டு தி ஃபேக்கல்ட்டி, ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ், அலும்னை. இந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் ஒரு சங்கமம் ஏற்படும் போது என்ன ஆகுன்னா, வில் கம் அகெயின் ஃப்ரெஷ். ஓகே, வில் ஹாவ் கம் வித் டிஃப்ரெண்ட் ஐடியாஸ், தாட்ஸ் எல்லாமே. ஸோ அதுக்கு தான் வந்து அப்துல் கலாமுக்கு பிடிச்சமான குரல் ஒன்று இருக்குது. எண்ணிய எண்ணியாங்கு ஏதுவர் ஏதிலார், என்னது சொல்லுங்கள், எண்ணிய திண்ணியராக பெறன். அதனால் உங்கள் எண்ணம்படி தான் உங்களுக்கு எல்லாமே வந்து வாழ்க்கை அமையுது அப்படின்றதில் கன்க்ளூட் பண்ணும்போது நம்ம கடைசி ஸ்பீக்கராக தான் சொல்லியிருக்காரு. ஸோ அதனால் இதுதான் வந்து த மிட் ஆஃப் தி திருக்குறள். ஓகே, கரெக்டாக இருக்கும் அதில். அதனால் வந்து இது வந்து திஸ் இஸ் அ கிரேட், ஐ ரியலி அப்ரிஷியேட் யூ கனகு ஃபார் டேக்கிங் தட் எஃபர்ட். அண்ட் இது வந்து ஸ்டைஃபண்ட்னு சொல்லலை, ஐ ரியலி அப்ரிஷியேட் தட். ஸ்டைஃபண்ட் தேவையில்லை. ஓகே, அண்ட் டோன்ட் லுக் அட் பிக் பே செக்ஸ். நான் மறுபடியும் ரிப்பீட் பண்ணுறவங்க எல்லாத்துக்குமே, எந்த ஆர்கனைசேஷனில் நீங்கள் போய் கற்றுக்க முடியுமோ, வேர் தேர் இஸ் அ லேர்னிங் ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி, ப்ளீஸ் ஜாயின் தேர். 1 year வந்து இப்போ 2 years MBA கோர்ஸா, 1 year எக்ஸ்டெண்ட் பண்ணுங்கள். திங்க் பண்ணுங்கள், இஸ் தேர் அன் ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி ஃபார் மீ டு லேர்ன் தேர்? Nityanandan will definitely watch for me if I am right, correct? Don't look at big paychecks. இன்டர்னாகவே போங்க, மினிமம் சேலரி கிடைக்கட்டும், பட் யூ ஹேவ் டு டூ த பேசிக் திங்ஸ், பேசிக் ஒர்க், அதுலேருந்து கற்றுக்கோங்க. அப்போ என்ன ஆகுனா அந்த 1 இயரில் உங்களுக்கு ஒரு கண்டிப்பான ஒரு டிரான்ஸ்ஃபர்மேஷன் கிடைக்கும். டெஃபினெட்லி. அப்புறம் டிஸ்ரப்டிவ் இன்னோவேஷன்லாம் வந்து நான் ஒரு கொஷின் கேட்க நினச்சேன் நித்யானந்தன்கிட்ட. லெஸ் தென் 10% தான் வந்து சக்ஸஸ் ரேட்டுன்னு சொல்கிறீங்க, அப்புறம் எதுக்கு இங்கே ஃபுல் டே உட்காந்து இதை பற்றி பேசணும் நம்ம அப்படின்னு மனசில் தோணுச்சு. நான் கேட்க தோணல. ஏன்னா எனக்கு தேவை வந்து என்னென்னா 100% நெத்தி அடின்னு சொல்லுவாங்களா, அந்த மாதிரி எதில் இறங்கினாலும் நம்மளுடைய கால்குலேட்டட் ரிஸ்க் ப்ராப்பராக எடுத்தால் வி ஷுட் சக்சீட் இல்லையா? அப்போ ஹோம்ஒர்க் பர்ஃபெக்டாக இருக்கும்போது பண்ண முடியும். ஸோ இதுக்கு எல்லாமே இவங்கெல்லாம் வந்து they are going to cooperate with you. இப்போ நித்யானந்தன் கிட்ட வந்து ஒரு பிஸ்னஸ் பிளான் வந்துருச்சுன்னா யூ கேன் go sit with them. இந்த 10% 100% மாற்றி காமிக்கக்கூடிய சக்தி இவங்க எல்லாத்துக்குமே இருக்குங்க. ஸோ டோன்ட் ஃபீல். ஸோ திஸ் a பிக் ஃபேமிலி, டிஃப்ரெண்ட் ஈகோ சிஸ்டம். இதில் வந்து இருக்கிறக்கூடிய அங்கங்கள் இவங்க எல்லாருமே இருக்காங்க. இதை சரியாக பயன்படுத்திக்கிட்டோம்னா டெஃபினெட்லி த சக்ஸஸ். ஓகே, தேங்க்யூ ஆல் ஃபார் திஸ் வண்டர்ஃபுல் ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி அண்ட் மீட்டிங். தேங்க்யூ அகெயின். அண்ட் ஆஃப்கோர்ஸ் கடைசியாக சொன்னாலும் ஆல்வேஸ் டாக்டர் ரூபா குணசீலன் மேடம், என்ன தான் மேஜிக் பண்ணுறீங்க தெரில, எல்லாத்தையும் போட்டு அரவணைச்சி கட்டி போட்டு ஏன்னா. ஸோ வண்டர்ஃபுல் டே, வி ஆல் என்ஜாய்டுங்க மேடம். அண்ட் லெட் அஸ் கண்டினியூ த குட் ஒர்க், லெட் அஸ் ப்ரொபகேட் இட் மோர். சிக்கி கொலாபரேஷன்ஸு, இண்டஸ்ட்ரீஸ் வரது உள்ளார, தென் ஆல்சோ தி அலும்னை. அண்ட் ஆல்சோ இன்னொரு சின்ன சஜஷன் காலையில் சொல்ல மறந்துட்டேன். திருவள்ளுவர் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் ஆஃப் திருவள்ளுவர் ஒரு கோர்ஸாகவே க்ரியேட் பண்ண முடியுமான்னு பார்க்கலாங்க. Because I've been traveling across the world and across different literature. நம்ம திருவள்ளுவர் சொன்ன மாதிரி வந்து ஒரு மைண்டுக்கு சைக்காலஜி வந்து ஃபார் அ பிஸ்னஸ் மேன் இட்ஸ் வெரி வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் அண்ட் ஃபார் அன் ஆண்டர்ப்ரனர். தேங்க்யூ ஒன்ஸ் அகெயின்.
Now we request Mr. Kanagaraj sir of Photo Boys to present the surprise gifts to the dignitaries on the dais.
Thanks to MOC, I'll start at my vote of thanks after we have that somewhat moment taken that photo session. Okay? Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Respected Director in Charge of BSMD and Registrar in Charge of Bardiyar University, the valedictory session's chief guest, and everyone present here. I stand here today as a proud and grateful one among the faculty coordinator to express my heartfelt thanks to all those who have made this event possible. I would like to start by thanking our university management, who have always been supportive of our initiative and encourages us to strive for excellence. I recall that Bharatiyar quotes which is needed in this line for that millennium people like you as a younger generation. Akini kunjondru kandeen, adai angor kaatinil pondenil vaithen. Vendu thanindadu kaadu, தள்ளல் வீரத்தில் குஞ்சொன்றும் மூப்பொன்றும் உண்டோ. எங்களோட இளையோர் மனதில் உள்ள தீரா குறிக்கோள்களை இந்த கருத்தரங்கின் மூலமாக ஒரு நல்ல ஒரு தலைப்பை கொடுத்ததற்கு பதிவாளர் அவர்களுக்கும் நமது அலுமினி அசோசியேஷன் ஆல் த பீப்புள் அவர்களுக்கும் ஸ்டூடெண்ட் சார்பாக ஒரு நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். Based on those lines, behalf of students and faculty of BSMD, I am immense pleasures for thanks to our university and BSMD authority for coining this title titled on disruptive innovation, strategies to transform the business. For bring out that innovative ideas of our students towards how fit themselves to features that they are going to be becoming that entrepreneur or intrapreneur. I would like to extend my gratitude to our beloved director and the Registrar of University, Dr. Rupa Gunasilan, who have been our guiding lights, imparting wisdoms and knowledge to us and nurturing our talents. Their unwavering support has been instrumental in our growth and development of Access 2024 as well as the department and in this theme also on effective manner. Thank you, Madam. I would like to express my appreciation to our guest of this session, Mr. Jayaprashanth, COO, co-founder of Trishna Wireless and Anchor Technologies, Coimbatore, who have taken time out of their busy schedules to grace this occasion with their presence. Your presence has added to extra spark to these events and made it more special. Thank you, sir. A true scientist uses their knowledge in the development of the nations, which we would clearly understand from that address. I would also like to thank all the resource present in inaugural sessions, technical sessions, panel discussions, and valedictory sessions also. Every resource person talk involved how disruptive innovation strategies used for transformation of business into the new digital era, which was clearly understood by everyone. Thank you so much all the eminent personality from various industry and field in Indian business sectors for taking your time and teaching us new things. Thanks to all the resource persons. Finally, I would like to thank each and every one of you from alumni chapters at Chennai and Coimbatore for your support and participation in making this event a grand success. Your contribution has not gone unnoticed, and I am grateful for all that you have done. Thank you to all the alumni people. I'm maybe listing so many names here. Maybe due to that time, just I have to move on that next one. Maybe like as a Vigraman and Hari Prasad and Rajesh Kanira, Aishwarya, Salini, and Dr. S.M. sir. And thank you for us with Nitin Devaraj sir also. So list it's going beyond the limit. Thank you, Ananda. And I'm not going to thank our students and faculties. I'm salute to all the students and faculty because your contribution is valuable effort and coordination in this Access 2024 program within very short span of time. And end of that result is going to be maximum benefit of that everyone. Hats off to everyone. Again, I'll quote it in that Bharatiyar lines. யாரையும் வெற்று காகிதம் என ஒருபோதும் எண்ண வேண்டாம், ஒரு நாள் அவன் பட்டமாய் பறப்பான், நீயும் அண்ணாந்து தான் பார்க்க வேண்டும். ஸோ டு மை ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ், இன்னைக்கு அவங்க காகிதங்களாக இருந்தால் கூட ஒரு நாள் அவர்களும் பட்டமாய் உங்களைப் போல் பறப்பார்கள். அதற்கான வாழ்த்துக்களையும் உங்களிருந்து பெற்றுக்கொள்ள விரும்புகிறேன். In conclusion, I would like to say that this event would not have been possible without the support and hard work of each and every one of you. On behalf of the student committee and faculty of BSMD, I would like to express my sincere thanks to all of you. Thank you, one and all.
It's time to release the newsletter. I request all the dignitaries in the dais to release the newsletter BSM Media.
One last request. It was the coordinators of various teams who made this event a wonderful success, starting from alumni team. Can you please get up? Alumni team, can you please get up? Yes, please give them a good round of applause for your work. Thank you so much. Reception and registration team, kudos to you. Food and refreshment team, again. Sound Patala. Guest hospitality team. Newsletter. MOC. Ma'am, MOC. We did MOC, yes. Any other teams? Any other teams? Photography? Photography team. Stage decoration. Technical support team. Coordinators. Purchase team. Reception and registration I mentioned already. Students, seriously, you took all the small details into account and seriously you nailed it. You rocked the event, you made it very, very happy and you gave a happy ending to the event. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you everyone. Now I request everyone to rise up for National Anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलति तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जाहे तव शुभ आशीष माहे गाहे तव शय गाता जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे